Making a video on lurking today and high elo and pro play. So good lurks, right? Understand the importance of good tempo. So if you haven't watched that video on tempo I made a few days ago, I'd suggest watching that before this one. So it will help you a lot. So there's like three types of lurks that the lurker will need to pay attention to, right? Like they need to like understand when to play the objective, when to play for timing, and when to play to like let the enemy know that you are lurking. So I'm going to be talking about those today. Okay, so the first type of lurk I'm going to be talking about is like playing the objective. So this lurk is meant to secure you the round after your whole team and their team is like kind of like traded out on site, and you're coming out like last second to like clutch 1v1 or 1v2. So this is like most applicable when you have like your team has a read, right? Your team has a read that they're most likely leaning into like a retake on a side. Let's say they're retaking B because the enemy Astra has wall and then they have killjoy or something like that. And then you have the read and you come on and you can take the whole site and you get an open plant. So now you don't need a rush as the lurk, right? And now you can play for the objective because it's open plant. So um so once everyone started rotating, right, because they know it's B, they come around, and then you can take your time, right? If it's like 5 to 10 seconds, you got to make sure you can't die here because you're like the win condition now. And then after that, like when in the process of lurking, you have to be telling your team to use utility at the choke to kind of delay them for that extra like 5 to 10 seconds because all that time matters. And during that time, they'll always be like looking for the lurk and stuff because they can't go out yet. If they're not going out, then they're going to be holding the flank. And then this is just for you to get closer and not to peek the lines where they're going to be like holding for the lurk, right? And after all that is delayed, and like let's say that everyone trades out on site, let's say 1 for 1, 1 for 1, 1 for 1, 1 for 1, and now there's probably like 10 to 20 seconds left on the time now, like uh on the bomb, and this guy's delaying, and then you come around heaven. Let's say if he dies or doesn't die, like you have such a good advantage now. You're playing time, and it's open plant, and you're playing to win. You're the win condition now. But let's say compared to before, let's say like your team has a read, they get the bomb plant, open plant, they have all the control, and you activate a tiny bit too early as a lurk, and let's say this guy's faking footsteps running away, and then the second guy's holding for another like 5 seconds. You activate a bit too early, and you die, then everything I said just before, like the whole round is going to be so much different. So you just have to like understand stuff like that, like when to play objective, and I'm going to be talking about like when to play off timing and when to play kills as well in a second. Okay, so the second lurk that I'm going to be talking about is like playing off personal timings, like playing to disrupt, playing to let them know that you're lurking, right? You want them to know that you're lurking. The previous one, you don't want them to know that you're lurking. So this one, let's say, I'm just going to give an example off the top of my head. Let's say you give up A control, you forfeit it instantly as attacker. They come up, take it, have a drop off, and then they rotate away, right? And they go play heavy C. And now attackers come retake it, let's say with dog. They clear this guy out, he's forced back, and now they come back around, like probably something like this. And you have a drop off, let's say put Viper here, because Viper will have a wall and orb and stuff, or whatever. And now, right, now the attackers don't know if you're here or not. But you can do stuff like you want to go for kills or you want to tell them, you want to let them know that you're there. For example, let's say there's 30 seconds, 40 seconds left in a round. You guys played the map, you've controlled every lane so far, and everything's looking good, right? And the attackers, defenders don't know that you have A control, or you don't know if they don't know if you're here or not. For example, you as a lurk, you could play the door, just open the door and close it at 30 seconds, and that would literally alarm the enemy so much that they might even rotate just off that because there's 30 seconds left. So that's like an example of letting them know that you're lurking, letting them know that you have presence in an area of the map, even though it's just one person. That's like, in a sense, fake presence when you're lurking, but you're just making it aware that there might be people in a place that their defenders don't know if there's people there or not. Yeah, and then let's say 30 seconds you play the door, and everyone rotates because they think it's going to be A, and then you just come to C, which is going to be like the weak side. They're going to be playing retake. Just an example. As a lurk, what you can do as a lurk when you play off personal timing. Okay, and the third and final example, I'm going to be talking about um, like dropping off and you're going for kills as the lurk, right? So this is like a prime example on this map is, let's say you forfeit A control at the start, they get the info, and they come around and you give up A lobby, right? And they come around and stack like heavy C because they're like, okay, we have a guy getting info here. There's no need for us to have more numbers here. So you play into the fact that they're doing that. And for example, you can have a round where, let's say, you have Killjoy Omen come up at the start of the round, and they just sit like around here, and we'll just do the normal Taro Lumber or whatever. And then after defenders taken A control, you take it back with drone, come around, drone it out. They get suspected of the drone, and then you show numbers, like how I talked about in that crew VOD. You show numbers, and this guy will be calling, oh, they're coming back to A. There's at least 2 or 3 of them. And this would cause a rotate, like this, right? Teams will do this. And during this period, what would these two do? They're fucking shooting the cunts rotating. So this is like a lurk where you kind of take a favorable off angle. You purposefully like try to kill someone or just show that you're lurking by using like utility or audio cues, or you can just sit there and play the off angle and try to go for kills. Just letting them know that you're there, right? And in the process of doing that, if you get a kill, good. If you don't get a kill, these guys are like super sus now of these 2 people, and they have to either choose to come and like re-clear it, or like they need to speed up. And if they speed up, that's audio cues, that's info for the attackers. Or you can do it with 1 person, you can do it 2. It's just an example. But this type of lurk, like you're trying to get the kills on the people rotating. So it's like different from not dying. It's different from playing like timings, where you're trying to catch a timing on someone. This is like you're trying to kill people with the lurk. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention something. And notice how I put the Killjoy and Omen as the people lurking, because you usually want people lurking to be the ones where they don't use the util to get in the site, so it doesn't deviate from like an actual take. So they don't know, that defenders don't know if you're actually there when you're rushing the site or you're not there. For example, let's say you're 5-man A, right? What does the Sova spot? Utility. He spots the smokes, but those can be done from anywhere, right? And he spots the breach flash, he spots the Sova dart. That's what he sees in an actual take onto the site, right? But all of that can be done without these 2 people being there. And when that happens, this guy he doesn't know if it's 5 people, he doesn't know if it's 4 people, he doesn't know if it's 3 people. He's just going to be calling, it's a rush. That's what he's going to be calling, right? He's going to be calling the utility. So most of the time, I'd say like good 90% of the time, the lurkers are always going to be the ones with the universal like range utility, or utility that they don't use utility in actual text, so it doesn't deviate. It doesn't make them think it's any different from a normal rush. And to develop like further ideas on lurking, like as a lurker you can't be too predictable. Like with anything in this game, you can't be too predictable, right? So you can't be a guy that's lurking like 80-90% of the rounds, and you can't be a guy that's lurking only like 10% of the rounds. Like you have to like mix it up like real well. Like for example, you can do conditioning. I haven't made a video on conditioning yet, but I'm just gonna like quickly explain what you can do as like a lurker to be like really unpredictable. So for example, let's say your team wants to take A main control for the first 3 rounds, and you're lurking all 3 of those first 3 rounds, and you're letting the enemy know that you like to lurk, right? And then in their head, they'll all be wary of the potential lurk now. They'll be thinking about it like pretty heavily, but like this guy's lurked so much, like 3 rounds in a row, and he's like got value off of it. And then they're gonna be like staying back like an extra 5 seconds now, 5 to 10 seconds to see if there's a lurk now. And you can play into the fact that they're doing that, and after those first 3 rounds of successfully lurking, you stop lurking for like another 4 rounds. And now what? Now what happens? This guy will be staying here for another 5 seconds, and when you rush C, you don't show yourself, right? You don't show that you're rushing with them. So he doesn't know. And now what? Now the rotates, the floods are going to be much slower because people are staying back to like chill out to see if there's a lurk for another 5 to 10 seconds. So that's an example of like conditioning when you're lurking. Starting off the game like lurking a lot, and then slowly like slowing down with your lurks, and then maybe towards the last 2 rounds, maybe you can start lurking again. That's first example. A second example, which is like the complete opposite of what I said. Let's say first 3 to 4 rounds, you don't want to lurk at all, and then they're like, okay, this guy doesn't want to lurk. He's too scared to lurk or something, and then starting from fourth round onwards, let's say you start lurking a lot because people won't be staying back for too long. So yeah, just examples like that. Just making sure you're unpredictable with how you approach every round. If you enjoyed the video, like and share, and if you want anything else made or if you're confused about anything, please let me know and I'll make a video on it.